Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Cinder Webinars. Today, we are going to be talking with Catherine Scardeville about the financial forecast for retail growth trends between 2023 and 2024, and looking a little bit ahead into 2025. So, thank you, Catherine, so much for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and read your bio and then invite you to share a few comments before we dive into all the questions.
Oh, thanks.
Sure. So, Catherine is the founder and CEO of Equilibrium Consultants. She's also the CFA at Modern Drummer Publications Incorporated.
Mm.
Equilibrium has helped creative small business owners in the construction and manufacturing space increase profit and clarity on a massive scale while saving them time and money through organizing records, maintaining their bookkeeping, and compliance. You can focus on running your business and earn more income while they reduce much unneeded stress on you. So, welcome, Catherine. We're excited that you're here today.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I mean, as we're nearing the end of the year, I think everybody starts to wonder, what happened this year? What do we do to look forward to next year? And so, very timely conversation. Just to let everyone here know that's here live, if you are here live, you can go ahead and type questions as they come up in the Q&A box at the bottom of your webinar screen. We will get to those throughout the presentation. When you put a question in the Q&A box, you can either use your name or you can be anonymous if you would rather do that. So no worries either way, and we'll monitor that throughout the presentation today. Oh, all right, let's just dive right in. As we look ahead to 2025, retail businesses are facing an ever-changing landscape. What do you see as the most significant shifts that are shaping the future of retail?
Oof. Okay, so that's that's a loaded question. So there's a few items to consider. So for example, one of the shifts that's happening is AI. AI is a giant is it if you're not going to jump on the AI train, you might be left back in the dust, right? So there's an item called omni-channels, and in our case we say omni-channel excellence, right? Because the consumers, they get busy, they get distracted, and they're juggling like 5 apps at once. So a lot of retailers now are jumping on, let's say, a secret sauce, so the retailers, they'll merge their online stores with their brick and mortar stores. So there's a new buzzword called uh, oh god, it's a mix of physical and digital. So it's phygital, which is a hilarious word. So what they'll do is they will kind of merge their digital store and their brick and mortar store. And just to give you an example, Target has their curbside pickup,
Mhm.
but the way they do it is they kind of make it feel like a VIP service. And a lot of other places tend to do the same thing, like Walmart or gosh, name a department store. They're kind of jumping on that bandwagon. But the nice part about Target is that they will they recognize that that's an important service to a lot of individual consumers that don't have a lot of time, for example. So they will instead put that service on the forefront, not just their sales items or their discount items or anything like that. They're going to put this as the main focus. And then another example would be a place like Nordstrom's, right? And Nordstrom's has in their app something called reserve and try. So you can reserve a piece of clothing, go to the store, and then try it out. And if you don't like it, just put it back on the rack. You know,
Mhm.
so that kind of consumer relationship kind of builds a lot of loyalty, which we'll get to that later. But the that kind of consumer relationship is really important to modern day consumers because they're used to having this kind of relationship, and that's kind of what the basis of it is. The next thing is sustainability, right? So sustainability is invaluable to the new consumers that are coming out, like the kids that are coming out of high school and college. So you have consumers like Gen Z consumers or millennial consumers, and they have an ethos that they carry with them, or they have some sort of, I don't know, they have some sort of like code that they kind of work through. So, for example, maybe you care about the planet, or they have Instagram aesthetics that have "I care about the planet" just plastered all over them. So you have a brand like Patagonia, for example. Everything about them is, you know, global, instilling global change, making anything that involves the environment on the forefront. Their 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 company mission statement has everything to do about the environment. So Patagonia has a thing called Worn Wear, and it proves that you can turn your old jacket into someone else's new adventure. You know what I mean? So like recycling, but instead of going to a thrift store, you're selling it to Patagonia in this case. You know, so it's a Patagonia jacket being resold to Patagonia at a discounted rate. So stuff like that. I could go on. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, if there are more, I think this is helpful because we're, trying to get this snapshot of what are the most impactful trends that you've seen and like how does that move into 2025. So anything that can kind of, give folks a chance to think ahead, like maybe you might be internet only retailer, so maybe something like Target's Drive Up's not going to work for you, but how could you possibly add more sustainability into your business? Or are there any other kind of impactful trends that you would say people should look into?
yes, oh my gosh. So the first step is hyper personalization, right? And these might sound like buzzwords, and believe me, they are, but they're going to be really helpful to you if you're an e-commerce store, or if you're some kind of brick and mortar hybrid e-commerce facility of some kind. It's all going to be helpful to some degree. So for hyper personalization, so think of it like this for hyper personalization. Like, so one of your parents made you dinner, or one of your guardians made you dinner, but they predicted what you probably wanted, right?
Mhm.
AI now does that for you with your shopping cart, which is just bananas.
Yeah.
So instead of like, if like your mom, your dad, your aunts and uncles just saying, "Oh yeah, I know what you want for dinner," AI is going to be like, "Oh yeah, I know what you want in your shopping cart." It's bananas. So, for example, Starbucks, right? It knows what your coffee craving is, and I'm a coffee snob, you know, so it knows what your coffee craving is before you even hit the snooze button, you know, and now fashion retailers, if you are married to a fashion retailer of some kind, maybe a Macy's or a Rainbow or something of that nature. I'm going all over the spectrum right now. Um, they're kind of like curating looks as if they're your personal stylist, um, minus the awkward small talk. So there's
Yeah.
no like awkward small talk for sure. And you kind of want to think of it as AI being the best friend who won't judge your sweatpants phase. No, so you want to think of it like that. Another idea is there's direct to consumer brands. So, for example, instead of direct to consumer, basically means you're eliminating the middleman. So, you have a Warby Parker. They make the sunglasses. They make glasses just in general, right? So, Warby Parker, um, they are a very, very big eyeglasses manufacturer, right? But if you didn't want to like go through the middleman to get them, not really going to the eye doctor and getting your prescription, but it's more about, um, I know what my prescription is. I know I have the prescription script. I know what I want. I know what I have every idea of what it is that I want to get and where on my face, right?
Mhm.
But in this case, instead of going through the doctor's office, and then go to the optometrist, and then they order the thing, and you can bypass all of that through direct to consumer brands like a Warby Parker. So you can just order it online,
Mhm.
enter your prescription script, put in the doctor's name, and that's it. You know, you
Yep.
can just curtail the middleman entirely, and eliminate all the decision fatigue right there, especially if you already know what you want.
Right.
And then you have ideas like experiential retail, which has to do with how the consumer experiences the shopping process within the website or within the brick and mortar. So IKEA, for example, has um, both. They have the gargantuan warehouse, in the middle of nowhere for a lot of people. I'm in New Jersey, so it's all the way up in Elizabeth. It's only 35 minutes, but still. And then you have they have like this full sensory thing, right? So it's not just selling furniture. You shop, you eat the meatballs, and then you dream of all this minimalist bliss.
Yeah.
And then there's like there's this thing called there's the camp, right? And then you're turning your shopping trips into adventures or something. So who needs Disneyland, right? You can just go to IKEA. I'm kidding, don't do that. But um gosh, could you imagine? Okay, so it's basically like you shop for a couch and you stay for the meatballs, right? So retail therapy, just leveled up or something. And then they have subscription models, right? Which is loyalty. This is where the loyalty effect comes in. So with consumer loyalty, they deliver um, monthly monthly consumer items for like curated boxes, maybe snacks or makeup or fashion items. For example, HelloFresh, that's a really good example. They have you can pick and choose what items you want and what items you want to have for dinner, and then you're good for like the month. And then
Yeah.
all you have to do is do it the following month if that's something that you want to do. Same thing for the makeup. And I don't know about you, but I wear makeup every day. So kind of things like that, you can just kind of make them a part of your subscription items for all of your expenses, and some of those can be written off. Um, for presentations, you can kind of maybe get away with it as far as the makeup goes, but as far as items for like groceries and things, not so much.
Yeah.
But it's like, you don't have commitment issues when your snacks are on schedule, kind of thing.
Oh,
So,
that,
you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
now as far as the 2025 trends, like the impactful trends, the supply chains, those are going to be more automated, right? So, I have places like Walmart and Amazon. They're reducing stockouts, and their delivery times are getting a lot better due to the implementation of AI and due to the automation process. Um, so you want to think of it as like a supply chain powered by algorithms. You know what I mean? So human beings are still a part of it, thank heavens. But the AI factor helps with minimizing that time and minimizing the the time it takes to go from one part of the warehouse to the other, because that was a major complaint with Amazon's workplace conditions. So I believe they listened and implemented AI into their daily process. So, and then the next thing is the metaverse shopping, right? So think of it like a augmented reality. So you're going to hear me say AR a lot. So um, in this case, like you would try the lipsticks in stores, for example. Like you would go to the makeup counter and you would like maybe put it on your hand, or
Mhm.
you'd actually try it out. And now you can kind of do it virtually, which is really cool. So Sephora, for example, has an augmented reality app, and you get to take a frame of your face and then apply the color to your lips or apply the eyeshadow to your eyelids, stuff like that.
That's
Um,
actually these glasses I bought because I did an online, just tried on a bunch virtually and picked these.
there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, augmented reality, AR. It's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Mm. I'm
And do you
talking
think
a lot, so I want to
something
make
that,
sure I'm not like,
oh no, this
sorry.
is This is all great. Is augmented reality, would you say like first maybe somebody who has like a smaller business, are there ways to implement that or does it take a lot of infrastructure, to get that in place?
As far as that goes, I'm not really a techie person, but I do know that there are certain app developers or development processes that
Mhm.
have that in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I only do the finance side, but the I do know that the AR method and the AR implementation comes with certain developments of certain apps. So that can be done. Unfortunately, that's kind of beyond my scope.
Great.
So,
Thank you. And I just want to remind everybody that's here live, if you have any questions as we're talking, please, you don't need to wait till the end to put them in the chat. We'll put them in that Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, and we will get to those as it makes sense to do so. So let's chat a little bit about kind of the challenges that you see retailers facing in 2025. I mean, we've talked, there's a lot going on, there's a lot of changes, a lot of really cool stuff happening with the AI. But what do you see as sort of, the challenges that they will face going into this new year, and how can they possibly tackle them effectively?
oh yeah, okay. So there's some major shifts coming that the retailer should be prepared for. Um, I saw three, so I'm gonna try to focus on those. So economic uncertainty, forever going to be a that's forever going to be a thorn in everybody's side. It's just the way it is, right? One of the primary factors of economic uncertainty, unfortunately, is inflation, right? And inflation's got everybody just clutching their wallets so tight, So you want to take a page from Dollar General's playbook, right? So think of it like this. So Dollar General, they have value priced goods, you
Mhm.
know, and they use really strategic suburban expansions. So it's not urban, it's suburban, right? So um, they will use their value priced goods. So, for example, they'll take Ziploc bags for the sake of argument. It'll be the same, but it'll have their brand on it, Dollar General Ziplocs, or Dollar General sandwich bags or whatever. It's the same stuff. It's the same quality, manufactured by the same people. Just has their name on it, making it cheaper. So that's one way to do it. Excuse me. Another way that they try to keep their costs down is they will expand their business in suburban areas. In other words, they will bring their business to the areas where it's a little difficult for those consumers to get to the major cities or get to the major um, populated places so they can do their shopping or for whatever it could be, like for their essentials or for Christmas, for example. That is one way to do it. So when in doubt, you discount it out if that's something that you're interested in doing. So that is one avenue to consider for the economic uncertainty. If inflation is making you feel not so good, might want to consider going to where the people are and discounting the items that for a fact you're not really going to be affected by on the bottom line, excuse me. The other thing is Gen Z, right? Gen Z influence, right? And we make some jokes sometimes, right? But they're the future of consumers. You can make all the jokes you want, but they're the future of consumers. So you want to think of Gen Z as a generation that legitimately cares about ethics.
Mhm.
Man, do they care about ethics and transparency and honestly, killer TikTok campaigns. Seriously. So there's a company called Allbirds. They're doing really great with their price transparency and their eco cool like vibes. It's they got it going on for sure.
Yep.
So you want to think of it as Gen Z is making retail ethical, one overpriced avocado at a time. I'm saying. I'm saying. So then the last one, right, is tech integration. So um, you got a blockchain diamonds to AI powered like produce tracking, right? It's like crazy. Technology is here to stay, and it's here to be a part of your life, and it's here to um, make your life better when it
Mhm.
works, right? But it's here to do some very extraordinary things, thus making you extraordinary, right? But you want to think of it like this. It's making the ordinary beyond our wildest dreams. So you want to think fresher fruits and guilt-free jewelry, guilt-free everything, because um, diamonds are now made from a lab. They're not made from uh, they're not they're not blood diamonds no more. They don't like that anymore, which is nice. And if individuals who are for individuals who have a deep concern about where these items are coming from and how they are manufactured, because they're made in a lab through blockchain, that concern has gone considerably down over, right? So it'll be like fresher lettuce, fresher dating profile because oh, I have great diamonds that were grown in a lab, stuff like that. So those are the three that I would be aware of.
Okay, awesome. And what would you say are some retail sectors or maybe some sub industries that you think will have the strongest growth in 2025 and why?
Okay. E-commerce, hands down. That's the top one for sure. Because everybody's in motion. Nobody really stops unless they are told to stop, or their jaw is clenched so bad that they have to sit down and be like, "Oh man, I should probably stop." So, but they're on their phones constantly. So, um, it's mobile first, it's global, and it's nobody stops for anything really, unless they really have to. So, because people are on their phones often, e-commerce should be just as mobile as their consumers are. So you want to consider companies like Alibaba, just global, international, right? So if you are an e-commerce store, it would be to your benefit to look at the app that you are creating, or if you have an app, um, maybe modify or revamp for the sake of argument, and look at it from the consumer's perspective, because the less steps it takes for them to purchase your item, the more loyalty they will have in staying with you and buying more of your product, right? So, plus, if everything looks clean, if the website looks clean, if the app looks clean, and things are just billion with a B in
Mm.
2025. So
Wow.
swiping your thumb, man, swiping your thumb is worth billions.
Wow. Mm.
You can be a part of that. All right. So something to think about. All right. So that's the first one. The second one is luxury goods. Hilarious, right? So luxury goods, you want to think like $5,000 handbags, and bespoke experiences. So needless to say, those high end customers, they're back. They're here to stay. They're here. They're here and they want to buy from you. And they're spending big on everything from rare watches to immersive travel. So if you've got something high ticket that you as a consumer would be very interested in buying, build on that. Build on that. I mean, the numbers are here, right? Because these luxury goods, you need e-commerce to be a part of that. So in order to sell the luxury goods, you need an e-commerce store. You could be part of that $620 billion profit center
Yep.
in 2025. I don't mean to have a face. It's just that please do the thing. You can do the thing. You deserve to be a part of it. So um yeah, so luxury goods, if you got a high ticket product, you got a high ticket service, you got high ticket whatever, um start now. You know what I'm saying? So, there's nothing says I'm back like a handbag that costs more than rent. It's okay. Okay. You know.
Yeah.
I could go on. I won't shut up. So,
Well, I know we talked a bit it really impacting maybe retail growth, like in areas like inventory management. You talked about the personalization. What are some ways, maybe some additional ways, or go into those a little bit more detail, like how that's going to really change things next year?
okay. And you're talking about inventory in particular, right?
Yeah.
Or like that AI will take over everyone's jobs, or AI will take over everyone's, oh gosh, AI will just take over, right? And it'll be the Matrix or something like that. So, um, uh, the likely of this turning into a movie, the likelihood of it turning into a movie is very, very low, first of all. Second of all, um, the concept of something taking over our jobs is as old as the country. So maybe instead of using that terminology, a touchy subject, but it's meant to be used as a tool. It's not a person, because it's produced by technology. That means it was created by human beings. So this technology is not perfect yet. It might not to help you improve upon the processes that you already have.
Mhm.
And it is also to help you identify any pain points and possibly help you create certain ideas that you might not even have thought of before. So it's a tool. It's a silent partner that really doesn't give you any flack or judge you in any way. So think of it like that. Now, the cool part about it helping you maintain your inventory, excuse me, is that it will encourage you to the AI functionality has been implemented with how you cycle count all of your inventory items. I bring that up every month, and nobody likes to do that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people on this call who are like, "Oh my God, no! Oh, that's so bad." They're right. It's not good. But the cool part about AI is that it will identify things on your behalf to figure out which items were bought more
Mhm.
and why are there duplicates. So you don't have to. It'll just expose them for you on your behalf. So you don't have to do that extra work.
Yeah, that's
It
amazing.
just saves me time. I love saving time. I don't know. I don't want to waste time on that. So that's why it's here, you know. So just something to think about when we're talking about AI. It doesn't have to be a big thing. I could go on. Sorry.
And I think with AI, when people think about it and think about it taking over tasks, that kind of mentality of like, oh, it's going to take my job, it's going to take my tasks, it can feel very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, it can actually help us to be more present in our business because we're not worrying about things like do I have three of those or one of those left, right? So trying to kind of do that mindset shift of like it's a good thing, like you said, a silent partner, someone to help you out, not taking over. A lot of people are worried about it. They got questions. What do you see as kind of like a way, like say somebody's newly implementing AI into their ecom business, how can they
Mm.
kind of balance like that human element with the AI element so that it doesn't feel to them like they are giving their business over to AI?
Oh gosh, sure. So, um, AI is supposed to help you solve issues, solve problems, and implement better processes. That's what it's for. Help you create better content, help you implement better ideas, and all of this other stuff. So, for example, certain challenges that retailers are going to face next year, a lot of it is going to be based on cost management, just for the sake of argument. So maybe you have these high tech dreams with really, really tight margins, so that can be super tough. But the cool thing about implementing AI and a professional, you can you can use both of those very intelligent minds, like the mind with lots of experience and the AI mind, and bolster them both together. And for example, for the cost management idea, or the cost management issue, I should say, um, Target has lean logistics. They have very, very lean logistics. What I mean by lean is that they don't really have a lot of room for error when it comes to transporting their goods to the stores at all. They really don't, like, they don't give themselves a lot of slack when it comes to transporting all of the ordered items for their inventory when they're replenishing it for the new seasons. They don't give themselves any slack practically whatsoever. So when they start uh, pushing those goods into the stores, and then they got to take the old ones out. So first of all, what happens to the new ones? Okay, they're beautiful and they're in everybody's face and blah blah blah. Now what happens to the old ones? The old ones get put on the clearance, and the old ones get resold on a discount. Um, there's varying degrees on how they can resolve that issue, but the objective is to have these tech upgrades without breaking the piggy bank, right? So that's the whole point, and that's what AI does, without hiring more individuals, and without hiring more just without hiring any more outside outsourcing. Plus, the team that you already have, if you're able to train them and how to use whatever AI source software that you are implementing, you can train them on how to make their job easier. And that's kind of the whole point. And then it's just to make everybody's life easier, you know. And then you got the next challenge, which is consumer retention. So consumer retention, again, we're back to loyalty. You have a company like Starbucks, they have a rewards program, and it actually makes loyalty a game, so it's like you're scoring points for your coffee addiction. So um it's the objective is to implement AI and use it in such a way where your costs are under control, not down, under control, right? Because there's certain over and over again, you score these loyalty points because caffeine is forever. No, I'm saying, you know. So you want to consider it like that. AI, it's meant to help you. It's not meant to hurt you. Does it make
Yeah,
sense? Okay.
totally.
I might have been talking in circles, so I just want to make sure I got to the point. You know.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. And I think like all the examples that you've given as well, like Allbirds, HelloFresh, all of those ways in which they're implementing, I think most people just don't even realize it. It's seamless. It's just kind of happening in the background, and that's what we want. So we're not advocating here for anybody to give their business over to AI, but this is more about utilizing it as your partner.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about like trends. And what would you say is one of the most overhyped trends that you saw in either 2023 or 2024? And how would that maybe create a hidden business opportunity for the coming year?
Like the fun part about the trends, let's see, I remember I made a thing on this and I just want to make sure I opened it up proper. There we go. Um, so if I can just go back to 2020, right? So 2020, the pandemic hits, we're all affected. People are scared to leave their houses. Here comes Instacart and DoorDash, right? So um, it kind of reshaped our shopping habits a lot, So because nobody wanted to leave their homes, but people still needed to eat, people still needed to clean their homes because Lysol, paper goods, uh, all of that was mandatory in every house. So what happened? E-commerce exploded. It exploded with online sales growing by 44%. That's that's uh, that's insane. you know, and that was just in 2020 alone. And then the following year, um, omni channels they started to gain some ground, right? So the omni channels, they were uh, they were retailers, brick and mortar retailers that integrated online and offline experiences. So that's where the what was it? It's physical and digital. Digital. There we go. Because that's just a weird word, right? So because of that, the phygital items started gaining more traction. Phygital experience, excuse me, started gaining more traction. So Target starts spearheading this concept of driving up, like drive up, put stuff in your car, contactless, and Sam's Club, and um, oh gosh, I had Costco back in the day, and excuse me, that was very, very helpful for me, because I was able to order everything, and the pandemic was still kind of prevalent in everybody's life, at least over here on the East Coast. So, and then in 22, um, sustainability, right? Sustainability like emerges as a differentiator, right? In other words, um, the circular business models, circular, right, started to gain traction. So by circular, I mean, um, cons- uh, what's the word I'm looking for? By circular, I mean the retailers, when a consumer is finished with their product, the retailer will take the product back and recycle it in order to resell again. And that works in multiple stages, right? So it works with, if you are taking it back to resell it, yes, it may go down in value, but the work in progress, or in process, if you're in accounting, the work in process will build more value, albeit different value, into that product, so you can sell it again in a repurposed fashion, and because of that labor and materials that you're putting into it, a good portion of that can be classified as a deduction later on. So you will, you're going to win either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was in 22. And then finally in 23, last year, so in 22, AI was like in the talks, like, oh, I wonder if this is going to be a thing. And then 23, oh crap, it's really a thing. Oh my gosh, right? So, wow. So AI has now delivered it'll take the individual consumer's shopping habits or algorithm in this case, and tailor their homepage to what they believe the consumer appreciates based on their shopping habits for the entire time that they have been loyal to that retailer.
Mhm.
So it's um it's getting pretty intense, and I believe this is kind of why people get a little uncomfortable because how does it know so much about me? It's like, well, we're on the internet constantly, all the time, all the time. What are you gonna do? Not go on the internet? You can't do that. Come on, don't kid yourself.
Nope.
So for real. And then in this year, there was the rise of the experiential or experience related and metaverse shopping. So it was virtual and augmented reality, just kind of redefined the way we shop, where it's even more customized to the consumer, and it's more tailored to that one consumer. Yes, this consumer does wear glasses. Cool. But this consumer also enjoys, and my glasses have this kind of like leopard print thing over here.
Mhm.
So that must mean, oh, if she likes leopard print stuff, let's show her some leopard print stuff. Even though it's glasses related, we have other glasses that look similar, and I'm all like, ooh, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm like, ooh, oh my gosh. So and just to give you another example of that, Gucci. This is just to make you laugh. If anybody has children, right? The retailer, the fashion house, excuse me, that was very rude of me. Gucci has virtual sneakers in Roblox, the game Roblox.
Oh, wow.
I know, like, why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they're trying to reach a new demographic, right? Because Gen Z is where it's at. All these kids, they're playing Roblox. They're playing these games, and they're how are these retailers going to reach the new consumer if they don't know where they are? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, right? So, oh gosh, yeah. And then we talked about Sephora and their AR makeup thing with the lipstick and stuff. So, seriously, I won't shut up. Yeah.
Well, this wouldn't be a Cinder webinar without some talk about data because that is what we are.
Oh my gosh. So, hilariously, I use Cinder for Modern Drummer, right? So, in Modern Drummer's case, and so just a little background, right? I am in a former life, I was a career musician, and I played drums. So the fact that I work with Modern Drummer is just for me. Like I could die tomorrow and be like, I don't care. I work for Modern Drummer, meh, But the reason I bring it up is because they have a giant store, just massive, massive store. They sell lots of merchandise geared to a very specific niche audience. Yeah, it's musicians for sure, or music enthusiasts who happen to appreciate percussion, sure. But it's not just that. It's t-shirts, or mugs, hats. Gosh, Oh, books to learn how to play drums, right? Education books, education material. The magazine is on there as well. So because there was something crazy like thousands upon thousands of merchandise, we needed to find a way to, first of all, get all that data into our accounting software, which is QuickBooks in our case. And then we had to make sure that they were allocated to the correct bucket, right, within the chart of accounts. So once we met in the inventory, because we use non-inventory items, right? So which means we don't have to count anything. We don't store anything in a warehouse someplace else. We don't do that. They're made to order. So because of that, we were able to determine which pieces of merchandise made us the most. So in our case, we determined that the subscriptions were the biggest income driver for our magazine. And then we also determined that as far as merchandising was concerned, it wasn't just the magazine itself. It was the t-shirts, in particular, vintage t-shirts from, yesteryear, Modern Drummer Festival 1985 or something like that. Those kinds of shirts produce the most revenue. And the cost to make them, and that alone, through what Cinder was producing as far as allocating the data to the correct account. So because of that, and because the process was so easy, and I had to sit down with one person one time, and they walked me through all of the steps, because I wanted it done in a certain way. Like this book has to go here, that book has to go there, this piece of drumsticks has to go there. Blah, blah, blah. It was really seamless for me because that's my responsibility. And then I have to turn it in to make sure the tax return is done properly. So as far as that goes, I'm very happy with it. It was one and done, and oh my god! And the best part was it condensed all of the PayPal, the Stripe, and the Squares um, deposits into one batch. So I was able to. All I had to do was just click match. It was because with the old system I couldn't do that, and now with this system I can.
Nice.
It's beautiful. Is beautiful because last time it was just awful. You know.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear.
Mhm.
Um, AI to streamline their processes. How can they use it to enhance accuracy in retail financial management?
Yeah. Okay. So AI for accountants is actually pretty cool. There's a fear that it'll take over the job. It'll take over all of our tasks, right? Um, Not accurate, frankly. You know what I mean? And what's funny is that our niche, our industry, it's evolving in a very unique direction. But because it's so, oh gosh, it's like being an attorney, where only a few people really want to do this, you know, only a few people. So, um, although more people want to do arguing and debating than sit in a room and crunch numbers all day. Um, in our case, the number of accountants is kind of dwindling because there is so much technology being integrated with how our just how we just go about the day, you know. So in my position, I am half I'm half like a technical advisor or troubleshooter with a lot of how the data is entered into the accounting software. And by the way, you know, I know compliance, I know how to write um, you know, HR manuals, and I know how to do these other things too, by the way. You know, and I think it's a little overwhelming for individuals in our industry who are just probably from a different era that really don't understand, or probably would rather work with someone like me who does understand, um, than try and learn this themselves, because they're maybe, I don't know if it's fear or if it's something else, but I can tell you that I've worked with a lot of CPAs that would prefer to just have me fix something as opposed to me educating them on how to fix it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, in as far as like AI is concerned, how we use it on a daily basis, um, we will take a balance sheet for the sake of argument. So, if all of your inventory is counted accordingly and properly, it'll line up in the balance sheet where it's supposed to, in inventory assets. And then I'll take the balance sheet, upload the numbers into an AI that was created just for me and my practice. And those those numbers are going to be uploaded there because we're responsible for doing something called the Security Six. It was mandated by the IRS, and there's 6 levels of security that all of us are supposed to obey and adhere to, and it's just by law we're supposed to have these 6 levels of security. Excuse me. So my AI software, I am supposed to upload it. I'm supposed to upload the balance sheet into the software, and then from there, I'll enter a prompt that'll say something like, "I have to find I have to find the beginning and the ending balance of the inventory for the entire year, right? Full year." And the purpose of that is to identify if what shows up in the store numbers are accurate with what's in the balance sheet, you know? So I can do that manually. I know how to do that manually. I know how to write it down and all of the things. This is faster,
Yeah.
you know? So I will upload that. It'll tell me. And then based on that, I'm going to be like, whoa, that's not cool. Or, oh, good, you made money. Nice. Okay. You know, and then from there, we will either tax plan because everything worked out, or we'll have a meeting with the client and say, either somebody stole a bunch of your inventory, or somebody is using your inventory for their store, or someone is not using the system properly. So we need to sit down and see what's going on. That sort of thing, you know, and that's why it's so important to use it. But you got to know what to ask it in order to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we are almost out of time here, but before we
Yes.
end, just a couple things. I have one more question for you, but if you could let the audience know, how can they get in touch with you if they would like to reach out?
Q Consultants with an S, NJ, because I'm from Jersey.com. And let's see, you can reach us also at info@eqconsultantsnj.com. And you can also call me 848-565-0113.
Thank you so much. And my final question today is, what would you say if you had to just give like a quick snapshot of like the most important takeaway from today's chat? What would you call out?
Oh gosh. Being a business owner is fun. It's fun if you are willing to just do the work, and it can be really rewarding if you can just get out of your own way. We're all guilty of that, you know. But that kind of brings me to just kind of like staying ahead of just this fast evolving market. It's constantly changing. It's constantly fluctuating. Um, Retail is not a marathon. You got to be agile, right? It's fast, it's unpredictable, and it's viral, right? So Zara, for example, the shoe company, it's it's fashion hustles like prove that you need to reiterate and not hesitate, right? So and then there's a customer centricity, for example, like you're customer centric, which we
Yep.
talked about ad nauseum, right? So you want to think of the algorithm as a mind reader. You know, it'll predict what you'll buy before you even decide you need it. So stuff like that. But
Oh,
most important is a partnership. So you want to think of Cinder as a partner as far as you're allocating all of your chart of accounts with your store, you know, and that collaboration will provide some symbiotic proof that, you know, two powerhouses are way better than one, you
yep.
know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation. Thanks to those of you who are here live or listening later. We appreciate it. And please stay tuned for future Cinder webinars. Thanks, everyone. Bye.